All right. Man, the last night was a rough one getting those push-ups in right under the wire. But we did it and the video was uploaded before midnight, so that's all that counts, right? 91 days, still an unbroken streak of posting something every day for unless I missed a day in there that I don't remember. I don't think I did. But my memory's not what it used to be, so it's very possible that something slipped through. But I'm pretty sure I didn't. So I'm counting it anyways until someone proves evidence otherwise. 91 days. If you don't know what we're talking about, that's SD's Fit Quest. And we're 91 days strong up to, well, now we're going to do 250 next. So I didn't get to 250 before March 1st, but it'll be, I guess, March 2nd. No, today's the 2nd. March 3rd. March 3rd, I guess. So. Anyways, progress is progress, and it's a good chunk, 1/4 of the way to 1,000. So that'll be fun. I can see it in my head. But today we are covering "There's Treasure Inside." Very exciting stuff. So there's, if you don't know, "There's Treasure Inside" is a book written by John Collins Black, aka JCB, aka John, aka Three Letter John. I'm not sure how he feels about the Three Letter John nickname. Sometimes it can be a little aggressive when it gets brought up, so maybe we won't say that one. I don't know. But yes, and I don't know. We're gonna do chapter 8. Excuse me, chapter 8. Beauty's bespoken treasures. I'm all about alliterations from other hunts. This is one of the few alliterations in the title. Did I just make that up? Beauty, is that one of the few? Yeah. So if we go back to the table of contents, really handy dandy table of contents. So really quick, 120 carat sapphire, no alliteration. 100 rings of we get, no alliteration. Puzzle box, yada yada. Masterworks, rubies, Amelia's autograph, alliteration. Beauty's bespoken treasure, alliteration. So that's 7 and 8. Golden chalice, checking assist, treasures, massive. Jordan, Tiffany's furnace. Nope. Moon rocks and meteors. I don't know if I'm going to count that. Moon rocks and meteors. Maybe. Put a question mark by that one, number 19. Antiquities of Alexander. We'll count that. Picasso's pendant. Count that. Sing your own special song. Maybe. All right. So out of 23, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. About 7 alliterations. So if it was 5, that'd be really cool. Well, I put 2 question marks. Maybe there's 5 because I'm all about the 5s. But anyways, just calling that out title. Chapter 8, Beauty's Bespoken Treasure. So that's what we're going to cover today. This one, I feel like I got some good stuff. Some good stuff for this one. Nothing massive, nothing groundbreaking. We're still building our roadmap. But 6, 7. There we go. There we go. I activated the 6 sevens. But yeah, so on, on chapter 8, we're going to cover that. This one right off the bat, I have I know it's funny. This one right off the bat, I have a little bit of confusion or puzzlement between the handwritten note right here, right, and the message, because most of the time these two go together. I think most of the time. So this one, know the past and see the future, right? So that's kind of the handwritten note underneath the chapter title. But listen to the quote that's quoted. Our thoughts and imagination are the only real limits to our possibilities, right? By Orison Swett Martin. One more time, because there's a semi truck downshifting on the highway. Our thoughts and imagination are the only real limits to our possibilities. By Orison Swett Martin. And again, the quote, know the past, see the future. Don't really know if those fit, but here's what I like about, and you're going to like this too. Top of the morning, Captain Kidd. So, if you look up Orison Swett Martin, right, founder of Success Magazine, right, we're trying to find success here and finding this box. Uh, the power of visualization, right? So he encourages using your imagination to create vivid mental picture of success, which acts as a blueprint for action, right? I really love that tie-in that you know Orison was all about visualizing in your mind and using that as a blueprint for success, right? And what are we doing? But we're making a roadmap, a blueprint, right? So I really like that little tie-in right there. Um, Other than that, I mean, he's a very fascinating guy. Thomas Edison and Henry Ford, cited his writings. It'd be really cool if there were stories about Edison and Ford. And while I think they appear once or twice, there's no real like story dedicated to Ford or to Edison. I think I don't know, I might have to double check on that. Well, I'm like 99% sure there's no major story dedicated to them, but I am not sure if Edison or Ford pop up because I don't have do I have the ebook? No, I had the ebook of the four small chapters. I don't have because I don't think there is a full ebook. Is there? I don't know, man. My memory again. My memory is going today, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if someone does have the ebook. If they want to search, if Thomas Edison or Henry Ford pops up in part one would be where it would be at. But anyways, the main takeaway I've gotten from the chapter, the handwritten note, is that we're continuing on our roadmap. We're continuing with our blueprint. Um, Visualizing, right? So, Orison's all about visualizing mentally. I think this is a very powerful chapter describing visualization and how it works with the images that John's provided. Um, and the handwritten note, know the past, see the future, ties into the chapter. So it doesn't fit directly to the text, the quote by Orson, but it does fit into the chapter text because a lot of the inspiration the author gets, or the subject of this chapter, is from the past. It's all about the Hopi past. And John, I think he in this chapter, he gives us a framework of what to do, right? Because the chapter kind of follows the normal path, a little bit about himself, gets into the subject, about the subject's past. But then there's an interesting section right here on page 83, which is not replicated anywhere else, more about the Hopi, right? That to me, I really get a strong tie-in with the chapter that me and Bruce on the Ground covered, right? Which if you haven't seen that, I do recommend that. I think that was a really good one. I think there's some valuable information there, and that's some more of our treasure items, right? So again, me and Bruce covered that. Some more of our treasure items. As soon as I read this again today, it really made a connection to me. More about the Hopi, right? So you can kind of see this chapter kind of follow through a typical progression of JCB's chapters in his books, and then there's a whole more about the Hopi section, which really dives deep into their past, right? Which I think is a pretty good tie-in to the quote in the beginning: "Know the past, see the future." So all that said, let's calm down, take a breath, and let's start where we should start in the beginning. All right. Uh, on that subject, let's get derailed. Not even 1 second to starting, and say that because people have brought up, well, where do you start this, right? Some people have theories about, oh, I like to start in the middle, I like to start in the end, I like to start on page whatever. I I just see so many instances throughout the book of starting in the beginning that I really feel like, at least for the lion's share, uh, current thoughts, at least of right now, is that you start in the beginning, right? So you start in the beginning, and that just makes sense because it tells you about the roadmap. Tells you where to build. I mean, if you do a quick rundown of all the handwritten subtitles, right? A plan that changed the world, right? So we're getting a plan together. You move on to don't wing it, right? He's telling you don't wing the plan that we're building together. Then he's gonna say something about the details, chapter 3. Joy's in the details, which we're always looking for joy, which we're gonna find joy in this chapter 8. I'll show you that in a second. So you have the plan, don't wing it, look in the details, blaze the path. It all just kind of fits chronologically. What about what lives in time? I think I know. Mark Santiago. Spoiler alert. I think I know. I'm going full rooster, trying not to, but I'm failing on that mission. So looking to get out there March 15, 16, 17. So probably next 2 weeks. We'll be heading out there, and I'll be either eating crow and joining everybody else, or I'll be bringing the contents to Tucson. Right. So that should be fun either way. I was trying to hold out my. I could probably only go one time this year. I only went one time last year. So no, come on, Mark. It's not in Montana. Everybody knows that. All right, in New Mexico. I won't get any more specific than that, but New Mexico. Um, yeah, I was trying to wait till further in the season. I really wanted to wait till after Justin spoke, so I could have a little bit more confirmation. But I can't do it. It's infecting my dreams and my mind. I've been staring at this place for so long that I'm seeing it at night. So we're gonna go ahead and go. That way I can scratch the itch and either wipe the table clean, start again, or have that gold. All right. Sorry for the distraction for all the TTI people who don't want to hear about Justin, but we're back. We're locked back in. Then I forgot the train of thought I was on, but anyways, we're starting in the beginning of this chapter. So here's the personal connection, right? I authored a children's picture book, right, entitled Our Unbreakable Thread, which I really liked how he said children's picture book, which to me, um, this is just one of several confirmations I have that the clue that's in the Unbreakable Thread is a visual clue, right? It just makes sense to me with everything he said about it, with the context that it's a visual clue, right? I think he enjoys putting in visual clues. I think there are textual clues and contextual clues, which we're going to get into. I think there's one or two here coming up. But from in my point of view, right, I decided to leave an extra clue or two, and so this ties in with if it's a textual clue, then when he says I decided to leave an extra clue or two, right? I mean that's a little bit of unnecessary coyness in my mind because if you're writing words or writing text, that's a clear clue you would know and you wouldn't need to say a clue or a clue or two, right? But if it's a visual clue, people interpret pictures differently and images differently, and there's all kinds of ways to interpret it, and you can, extrapolate to the nth degree of a simple photo, so or a simple illustration or picture. So I think that's in my mind how I have it is that the clue in the unbreakable thread is a visual clue. So, anyways, I'm not going to spend too long on that because I don't I just don't spend too long on the unbreakable thread. I know people have dive deep and deep and deep. I'm finding plenty and enough in going through the lion's share just the chapters to help me keep going. So he talks about the unbreakable threads written as an homage to my children, my wife, and my parents, which I think are pretty good keys on where to look for in the chapter one section. And then he doubles down about love and binding the ties that bind families together. And here we go, which I think is hidden pretty nicely because on the top first sentence of the next chapter, this is on the next page, is page 78. Listen to this sentence: Tradition bring. Oh, it's a typo. Traditions. No, it's not. Traditions bring people closer and provide opportunities for joy. All right, so there you have joy right there, which I believe the joy is in the details. And anytime we see joy in the book at all, there's something significant to it. So I know I stumbled through that. I said that really fast. Let me slow down and I don't know. Mark got me thinking about about this boots on the ground, so that's why I'm all excited. So let's take a breath, tone it down. For those of you who are in TTI who want something good out of watching this video, here's I think a pretty good nugget right off the top. And again, it's not groundbreaking. You probably already have this because I'm sure one of the first things you would do is search for joy all throughout the book. So I won't spend too long on it. But there's joy right off the top. It's kind of hidden because the context of where the joy is on the page before it. And then you turn the page and you see visually in the words the letters JOY. So there's joy. Now he gets into um, a bunch of holidays written here, right? And so, you know, but there's not that many, at least American holidays throughout the rest of the book. They're there. There's a few of them. So this one, I'm kind of on the fence about of how much uh, how much to take from here because right off the bat, well, Froggy, you just said look for joy, and if you find joy, there's going to be clues near it. Well, I found joy, top page 78, and now the clues are all these holidays: Thanksgiving, Christmas, Halloween, traditions enliven each culture, right? Ramadan, Yom Kippur. So I don't know. Yeah, definitely, Mark. Thinking about it. Yeah, 78. Yes, sir. Page 78, Davio, right on the top. And I like that it's on the top, but I like that it's hidden in the sense that what it's referring to is the previous page. So again, how much control does he have over the formatting? How intentional would he be about hiding stuff that way? Especially, if you're looking through the book for joy, you see on this page, you're gonna want to stay on this page. So I don't know. I don't know how much again, I don't know how much control he had over the formatting. But anyways, provide emotional connections to the past. What is joy? It's an emotion. That's what we're looking for. He starts off the book talking about the unbreakable thread. We're looking for a connection right there, and so I think this is a more elaboration on where that joy is found and how that connection is formed, right, to the past. And that's what I think is one of the themes for here. Somewhere in, but remember, this is a roadmap, right? So everything we're saying, because we're still very early in the book, chapter 8, um, this can still apply to the whole part of chapter 1. All the other, whatever, 20 something stories, 22 stories. Um, what we're finding here is going to apply because this is a roadmap. This is a road that applies. Anyways, he gets into some history. There's some numbers here, 1830, 500. Me and Bruce had a good discussion about numbers. He's not really a huge numbers guy, and neither am I. Um, and I didn't really go into too much of a reason for why, but because it's just me here and I'm rambling, I'll go into a little bit. It just it just feels like something. I don't want to say too easy. I'm trying to think of another way to say it. Too easy. That because with numbers, numbers are finite. They're solid. You can there's I feel like there's a limited amount of reasonable interpretations you can get from a number, so you can feed those in. Whereas pictures, pictures worth 1,000 words. So pictures and images, without knowing what you're looking for or without building the complete roadmap, I mean, we could all look at the same picture and get tons of different things, and none of them be the right thing, which is obviously what's been going on because we've all been looking at the same set of pictures, and we've all gotten different things, and none of us have the gold, to my knowledge. I don't know. Maybe someone grabbed it, but so that's why I'm not really a huge numbers guy, and that's why I'm more. I think the clues are more images and visual. I think there's words. There's certain words that'll help, and there's certain words that are clues for sure. But I don't know. That's my rant on numbers. John does have his own publishing company. That's right. Hey, Froggy Diana, how you doing? How you doing? No ambiguity. Yep. No ambiguity. More about the Hopi equals math. Look at the equation section. More than even less. Yeah. That. Hey, four-letter John. We're gonna get to that in the end, if assuming I don't forget, and if no one doesn't remind me. But plus, that part gets me, man. Whenever he uses verbiage like that, like who speaks like that? Plus. Um, yeah, that could be, that could be. So yeah, so hey, I could get behind that, John. If you're using the math for an equation, I mean, I don't see three-letter John as a huge math guy, but maybe that's why he did it. I mean, at its core, D&D is a lot of math, right? So it's just numbers and dice and probability all wrapped around fun and imagination, right? Sorry, another sidetrack here. One of the gripes that DMs have is you'll have at least two different kinds of players, right? You'll have the players that are in it for the story, the fun, the role play, and then you have what we call min maxers, right? So because, as Davio pointed out, there's less ambiguity with numbers. There is uh, I should say, maybe correct is not the right word, but there is a maximum. If you want maximum effort from a character, like there is a definite path on how to construct that character to get the most out of your dice, to get the most out of your probability, because that is whenever you have dice involved, it's probability. So there is and some people call it like the no fun way. They call them min maxers. If you have a party of a bunch of min maxers, some DMs don't like DMing that because they're more math focused. For me, I like a good mix. I mean, I think that having a min maxer in the group, you know, they think about things differently, and maybe that could be the message for John for his the way he constructed part one. I'm speaking mainly about part one. Is that he's imagining in his head his party of characters, right? Us. And he's like, well, you got to have your min maxer. You got to have your person who's in it for the role play. You got to have the guy who just wants to have fun. And you got to have the guy who only shows up for the food, right? I mean, those are like four, stereotypes of Dungeons and Dragons players, right? And so maybe that could be all the different ways. There's the guy who's strict math. I'm going to be this character because I get to roll this many dice, and the probability of me doing this much damage on average is the highest. So that's what I want to do. Right. So is John following Forrest Fenn precision? Forrest said precisely. I don't know. There's so much emphasis on joy, and I think joy is at its core hard to think about in a precise way. So I would say no, that I don't think precision is high on the list for John. But having said that, major caveat, I mean, you've got to put the treasure somewhere, and wherever that somewhere is, there is a precise location for it. So a typical Froggy response is a yes and a no, man. It's depending on how you look at it. There's the themes. I don't know if are precise, but where the location is precise. Musical clue too. She was just 17, if you know what I mean. Hey, you're speaking Davio's language, man. He knows all about the musical connections, right? I'm sure Davio knows who sang that song and everything. Uh, I've heard the song before. I don't know who sings it, and I don't know the rest of the song. Let me make sure I didn't skip anything there. All right, moving on. Let's see. There's something else about Charles Loma. Spoiler alert: he's the main character here in this chapter. So, okay, so this is the bottom of page 78. Through the years, Charles participated in Hopi ceremonies in various ways, including as a musician, right? Music, we're talking about it, a mime and clown, as a snake priest, and as a leader of the Hopi bean dance ceremonies, right? So I'm all about the fives. I can't shake them. And so whenever the Beatles, of course, the Beatles. How could I forget that? Um, Whenever I see a list that's more than three, I count it, and if it's five, I attach significance to it, right? So don't talk to me about confirmation bias because that's the next chapter. That'll be next Monday. But for now, all right, I see that list. I saw that. I'm like, hold on. I think what got me was the mime and the clown. I just don't read too many books that have mimes and clowns in there, so I read that and that kind of stuck out to me. And that's repeated. Um, where is it repeated? A couple pages later. Let me find that real quick. Yep, page 81. So page 81, the bottom, he says he mimed as a clown to entertain the children. All right, Charles tended the fields and played music. So it's not a five, right? That's a two. But because I'm like, hold on, here we have in one chapter, mime and clown are both repeated. Let me go back, and it's just so weird because in page 81, and I'm probably making way more of a deal on this than it is, but it's an itch I have to scratch, right? This is This is what these live shows are about, and I apologize for anyone who expects something different. But this is me scratching my itches in public. I wish I wouldn't have said that. It's a kind of a crude way to phrase that. This is me getting those thoughts I can't get out of my head verbalized and on camera and in public. All right. So normally that's how the front 20, 30 minutes go, and then I open it up and we do a little bit more interaction. But anyways, page 81, he mimed as a clown. So again, that's not a mime and a clown. He's miming as a clown. But then on page 78, they're different, mime and clown. What does it mean? I don't know. I just saw the five, so I had to call it out. Again, the five is they're things that Charles participates in, and specifically Hopi ceremonies, which is specifically the past and the cultural ties that tie it together. And here are the five. Musician, right? Music is obviously a key in there. John's a musician. He wants himself known as a musician. A lot of musical references in the book. So, musician, that's first. Mime, clown, snake priest, gonna have a pretty big tie into the next chapter, and leader of the Hopi bean dance traditions. Now, I'll say up front, I can come up with ways to apply musician, mime, clown, and snake priest. I have not come up with a really good way to apply leader of the Hopi bean band ceremonies. I mean, even saying that a couple times fast is tricky. Hopi bean dance ceremonies. So I don't know. Maybe it's a big nothing burger. Maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe whatever the researchers were researching on Charles Loma, him having five connections or doing five jobs really resonated with them, and that they passed it on to John, and that's why it's in the book. I don't know. Or maybe like I personally believe, like I really want to. Every time there's something five, it applies. Why are you bald? Do you get no past? Oh man, these are good. Well, I'm not actually bald. I do have hair. It's just in a terrible hairline and not a lot of it. Do I get no pass? I think I have a pass. How far do you go when washing your face? Probably here. I think right when I feel the fuzz coming in. So it's almost the middle of my head. So that's how far my face goes back. But I know questions that people want to ask of bald people. That'll be my next video. So tune in at 2 o'clock Eastern when I'll do questions you've wanted to ask a bald guy but never got a chance to. All right. The Badger clan divided into clans. I don't really know. 1821. I don't really have anything for that. Some people, maybe it's the same people that are all into the raccoons. They've migrated over and now they're into Badgers. I never found anything for it. Visionary Rebel goes on to the history. It's pretty fascinating, painting and pottery. I don't really pull much from that. There's a lot of cool places that are mentioned here, right? Some people focus on Treasure Island because that's on it's mentioned I think 3 times, and the first time is on page 79, right halfway through, on Treasure Island in the San Francisco Bay. So some people, if you're just doing a word search looking for treasure, and you see treasure mentioned in this book, you're like, "Oh, treasure's mentioned. Got to be something to do with the location, right?" Well, if you believe that, then California is going to be where you want to go. I don't personally believe it's in California, but whenever you see treasure in a treasure book, you got to kind of read it carefully, right? So if you want to dig more into that, I'm not going to spend time doing it today, but page 79 is where you want. It's a 5 head. Man, I probably got like a 6. No, I got a 5. All right, yeah. What's going on, Munch? How you doing, man? Uh, Jose, what's this channel about? This channel is about a national treasure hunt. If you're in the U.S., this will be into you. If this will be fascinating for you. If you don't live in the U.S., it might be a little bit less fascinating, unless you know somebody in the U.S. All right. So there's a book written by a guy named John Collins Black. The book is called "There's Treasure Inside." All right. And in this book, it describes how the author hid 5 treasure boxes. All right. I always like showing this picture when someone asks what's this book about. You know which picture I'm talking about with all the gold. There's 5 boxes hidden out in the United States, spread across, so everybody is kind of close to one. Um, each box is worth at least comfortably into the 6 figures, right? Over 100,000. So, Jose, this is for you, buddy. This is. Yeah, I'll zoom in a little bit. See gold bars, coins, Pokemon cards, rookie Jordan cards, all kinds of crazy stuff, right? So that's one of the 5 boxes that are out there, right? And the other 4 boxes are just as impressive, maybe a little, maybe slightly less impressive, right? This is the big box. So what we do is we cover it. I do a chapter each day. No, that's a lie. I do a chapter once a week, and we talk about clues, Jose. So if you're still watching, that's what we're doing, Jose. The book is, I think, still half price. Last I checked on Amazon, like 20 something bucks. So if you get it, it's a pretty cool book. There's a lot of cool stories in here. A lot of information information on the treasure he accumulated. Right. So Josh Ball, hey, how you doing, man? Oh, Davio's giving out hints. Write that down. Write that down. All right. So that was for Jose. Let's go back to chapter 8. We're about halfway through. Chapter 8. Chapter 8. Chapter 8. All right. So I called this out the first time, so I'm not gonna spend too much time on it, but how they made a point to include that both the Charles and his niece were pilots, and they got some inspiration from looking down on the landscape from up on high, and that fed into their artwork and designs, right? And so the first time I went through this chapter, I covered that, and I covered some of the things that could possibly mean. So I'm not gonna spend too much time on that. Um, Charles travels all over the place. Talks about the design, talks about the stones. I don't take much from that. They listed them all out: ironwood, turquoise, lapis lazuli, coral, and gold. I do take away the colors. Hold on, because you guys know I'm a big color guy. Um, this is back to page 78. Practicing a life lived in harmony with nature is important to the Hopi, and if it's important to the Hopi, uh, by the what something property in math, it's important to us because if John thinks the Hopi's important and something's important to the Hopi, and if we're trying to follow John, then there it should be important to us. What transitive? Is that the word? Transitive property? Gotta be careful saying that on YouTube. Um, but anyways, focusing back. Where was I at? I didn't because I didn't get to good. I didn't get to the good part. I stopped. Practicing a life lived in harmony with nature is important to the Hopi. They have intensively rich ceremonies filled with mythology and legends. Their dances are distinguished by their vibrant colors and vitality. All right, that those couple sentences right there. I read this over and over again. It just feels like unnecessarily wordy and around some subjects, and I think it's because it's just another emphasis and pushing color on us, right? Again, I'm fully biased. I know I'm a huge color guy. Some people aren't into that. But yeah, I think that that's just another. So I don't know. I wouldn't classify that as a clue, right? Because there's so many other areas where they show how important colors are. But I do think it's another nod that if you didn't get into the other ones as you're reading this chapter, you're like, oh, hold on, vibrant colors important to the Hopi, should be important to John, should be important to us. That's just another way to get there. Mythology is important though, because that ties into the history, that ties into the subchapter for this very chapter. Know the past, see the future. So if there's ever any cool mythology associated with a treasure item, I think that's important to learn. Yeah, yeah, three-layer John, brushstroke in the mural. Again, that's one of the earliest. I don't think it's the earliest, but it's one of the earliest color references in the book and how important they are. All right, so again, we covered the five. Going on to the end. So quotes, right? There's two. The book in well, no, it doesn't. This chapter to its first ending. I'll say it that way because remember more about the Hopi section, which is unique, not in any other chapter. The first part of the chapter ends with two quotes, right, by Sunwai, if I'm saying that right. Um, which and she's kind of a mirror of the of Charles because as the Loma is the masculine word for beauty, Sunwai is the feminine form. So we're all about reflections and mirrors. We got that from chapter one. So this is a feminine mirror to because it's the same name. So listen to these quotes, right? Charles taught that beauty is all around us in Hopi, in the environment, in the culture and ceremony, right? And we learned about the ceremony and how they have vibrant dances with colors, right? By combining elements from what is a part of my everyday life with the finest of ideas and finest of materials, I can interpret a part of Hopi for people to see and wear. What do we see on the page opposite this? A giant purple, a ring, and what is purple made of? Of combining red and blue. So, as exhibited by Davio's lovely heart there, that red on the blue. So, if I were to attach a color to a chapter, which I don't, some chapters just make it really easy to, right? Like green on chapter 4. This one would be purple. All right. So I don't have a solid theory for like combining red and blue and being purple and this is a sister chapter or something to chapter 1. I don't have it, but the ring is part of the math. Could be, could be. So, anyways, that was the first quote. Then we get into Sun Why owns the plane and the pilot. I talk about that with the other video about this chapter, but let's cover the second one. We used our planes to fly around Hopi in places like Canyon de Chelly to look at rock formations, the stones on the mesas, or how our inlay designs came to be. It's a bird's eye view. All right, and I think that covers kind of what I've been talking about how uh, John describes himself in an earlier chapter. What chapter 3? About the 30,000 foot view, and this is just a doubling down on that. I truly believe this is one of the stronger things I believe. Somewhere in part one, in one of the images that John, uh, in one of the images that John altered, there's a visual map, a visual representation of where the treasure is. The lion share box, right? I believe that with all my heart. Now, I have my own photos that I think are higher contenders. I'm not confident to point at one image and say, this is the image that shows you where the treasure's at. And again, by show you, I just mean it's a type of visual representation. I think we can learn about that from the Pokemon box, being that John is already playing there and showing you how he can take a picture of a location and alter it and change it in a way that where it's at is hidden, right? So that's one of the stronger things I believe about the Lion's Share is that there's a image in part one, maybe more than one. Maybe you combine one. I don't know. Maybe, but I do believe there's at least one that'll show you the location, right? And again, the scale, I don't know. Is it a 30,000 foot view, right? Which would be very close. If it was a 30,000 foot view, it's pretty close. Because most of us every day we're looking at satellites, which are higher than that, and we're looking at Google Earth, right? So that's a whole different view. So it'd be great if it was 30,000 feet. Um. Anyway, I'm not going to cover this because honestly, this is probably one of the hottest take of this video. I don't think this means much. I don't know. That's gonna trigger some people. I know. Some people see the angle. They look at in the coin. They look at that matches up with the Tahoe. That matches up with that map. Oh, the map. The double the July August. That was not a mistake. That's it's a confirmation to the number of January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. That's a 7-8, right? And we're on 7-8 right now. This is 8 and 7. They tie together, so it's a 7-8 thing. Maybe I don't know. I just don't. I don't know. I don't pay much attention to that one. But I mean, it would be cool if it was a whole 7-8 thing. But all right. Maybe the problem is the underwear. Could be. Could be. All right, so that's the end of and then we get into confirmation bias for the next chapter. So that's the end of me officially covering it. We went a little bit longer today. Kind of open it up to any kind of any kind of chat, treasure related, right? If you start asking me more about my underwear, then I'm probably gonna end the stream. But let me go back and see what I missed. Three-letter John, the brushstrokes and real. Agreed, agreed. I'm selling my book with all my notes. Oh, that's a great deal. Great deal there. That's a steal. Josh Ball. What else? What else? Anything else? Pie pan compass. Huh. There wouldn't have been a typo in the first edition if it was important. Yeah, yeah. That's I think the to me that was one of the biggest things, John, is that the clearly lack of attention paid to that image um just showed that there's nothing really there. I mean, in my mind, right? I think it's important to the tie-in. It falls into the his appreciation for the history, and that came up in the research from either the researchers or him, and he wanted it included, and just didn't double check the that all the months were correct. Antler, what's antler? Pie, compass, antler. I don't know what antler is. MJ. But all right, if there's nothing else, then if you ever have any questions, just I'm pretty good about responding to YouTube comments. I think I'm always gonna oh calendar words. Got it, got it. What's the main clue? Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, so we're switching over to a little bit of Justin stuff. The main clue I would say is the solution to all the other stanzas pointing there. But an easy one I can give you would say Wonder, and Wonder Guards, and the Land of Enchantment being New Mexico. That's probably an easy one to digest. But that on its own probably is not enough. But I think when you see the solution to all the other ones, it kind of moves you there. Back to Newt. All right, good luck, guys, with Newt. Good luck with that. Let's see. We're 2 days in. I'm happy that no one solved it on day one. That would have been a little bit of a bummer. I can see some people getting frustrated. That's not my goal to make you frustrated. I don't want people spending like days and days of their life on this. So I might probably give out a clue. I don't know. Maybe Wednesday. We'll see. If nobody's gotten past chapter 2, verse 2, puzzle 2 by Wednesday, maybe I'll throw something out there, right? Because that's the thing with the hunt. You never know how many people are gonna participate, right? So I may have designed a hunt with a difficulty scale for 1,000 people, but if only 30 people are playing, I obviously need to rescale that. I mean, I don't need to, but for the enjoyment of everybody, I probably would. There you go, Mark. There you go. All right. Yeah, I'm surprised. I don't know. We'll talk more on Discord. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care. What other announcements do I have? Thursday D&D should be a really big one. I think the new girl Savannah's fitting in well. I heard back from Rose; she should be there, so should be a pretty exciting event. We're gonna get Rose back. Should be a pretty good battle there if you're into that D&D kind of stuff. What else? SC's Fit Quest still going good. Got 250 squats and sit-ups coming this week. Um, I'll probably have more boots on the ground information probably next week. I don't want to tease out too early. Mark might fly down and get it. Nerds, yeah, yeah. You sound like Emma right there. What else? What else? Yeah, that's about it. I mean, I did for those who were watching. I missed the upload for the weekly Bible verse, which if anything, was more uh, convicting to myself because it just clearly showed me where my priorities were. You know, I made every other upload, but that was the one that I decided got pushed back. So, if anything, that's just a note to myself to look at how I judge my priorities. But all right, guys, take care. We'll see you guys soon. Later.